So I would like to make a video today because I had a feedback that the volume was not loud enough. Honestly, I think the problem is Windows because every time they make an update to the computer, every time I lose the microphone. I don't know why. In any case, I went to look for the microphone and it was 79%. So I put it at 90. I don't know if in this way it can be heard better. But in any case, I would like to make a video from getting a game from this book that it's very, very important because it starts teaching us, showing us an example of how to deal with isolated queen pawn. Okay? So the game is of Alekhine in a World Championship match, game 25, The Hague, 1937. 1937 was famous also for the lost Olympiad of this white, okay? d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, e3, castle, and knight e2. Obviously it's not a knight g e2 because this one is pinned. In the Rubinstein Nimzo-Indian, the knight can be somewhat passive on e2 as it offers restricted possibilities. However, it has its positive side too. White looks after his pawn structure, avoiding double pawns on the c file. Okay, double pawn on the c file. So please, after let me know if the video, because I don't know if it's YouTube that makes it lower, or if this microphone of the camera that is not recording correctly. So just give me feedback about that, because of course I care to be heard, otherwise it's a kind of mute video from the 1920s, right? Or something before. d5, a3, bishop e7, c takes d5, e takes d5, knight g3, and c5, d takes c5, and bishop takes c5. And then of course we have b4, and here the author of this book that I was told it's a very important book to read, okay? Because some people says thanks to this book they understood everything about pawn structures, okay? So pawn structures are the soul of chess, like Philidor would say. In any case, at the diagram here it says, having isolated black's pawn in the center, white's intention was to take full control of a d4 square, d4, which would be possible after the withdrawal of a bishop. Withdraw, escape, escape. Analyzing the game years ago, and I still remember it vividly, my reaction was the same. My hand was quicker than my mind, and I grabbed a bishop to retreat it. A glance at the text surprised me as much as it must have surprised Dr. Ov during the game. Okay, if there is a surprise, I guess then this is the move, right? But that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I still didn't. Yeah, I got it right. This is the move. Because if it's a surprise, if it doesn't go here or here, then clearly it must have been moved. But it doesn't make any sense. Or does it? Because you see, if you take, then you open this file and the king is still in the center. So this is a classical attack in the center due to having white not being developed as much as black. and that's the point. Let's see, however, what happens, because obviously I didn't think d4. Obviously, you know, maybe I don't know if Alekhine he created his own theory that was opening theory, because we are at move 10. In that time, 1937, surely it wasn't developed like today. Here it says a splendid tactical blow. Now it's not difficult to conclude that 11, knight c, e4 does not work. Why? Because there is knight takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop b6. So that's the reason. Okay, interesting. Let's see instead, because there is another comment. Another comment says, if white had relied on 11 knight a4, here it gives this move as a mistake, then he had to face rude realities. D takes e3, yeah, well, that's start to be bad for white. Queen takes d8, and obviously this, right? Boom! Ah no, wow! Oops! Amazing! 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 Wow! Yeah, let's say that now white really has a big problem, right? It cannot go here, it cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here, can only go here or here. I don't know where you want him. Let's say, I don't know, here maybe makes more sense because it can blow, boom. But this is a massacre, eh? It's terrible for white, and it's still not finished. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So as you can see, Alekhine analyzed very well the situation. Now let me put the position back in place. Remember, please give me feedback on the audio, because I don't want to have a low volume. Okay, I think this was the position from which we analyze knight c, e4, and also a possible knight a4. Okay, so let's see what happens here. B takes c5, right? D takes c3, and queen c2. Queen c2 is marked as a dubious move. We witness here a metamorphosis quite common in similar situations. A central thrust has transformed an isolated pawn into a pass pawn. Whoop! Yeah, this is a pass pawn at this point, because these are 1, 2, 3 against 2, so in reality black has a queenside majority. Queenside majority. White has a king side majority, so he will try to create a pass pawn from here. Let's see what happens, right? A pawn of higher quality, more mobile, and consequently more dangerous. In our game, white does not realize how vicious the pawn has become. Otherwise, he would have followed Alekhine's advice and played. So it seems Alekhine analyzed this game, because Alekhine had a beautiful games collection of analysis of his games, and it seems the correct move for Alekhine was to take on d8. Now here there is the line, and it seems that there was also a game from 1972 in which the same line was played, but black was still able to maintain the advantage. So, however, now we are not in 1972 anymore. It's possible that if this line was analyzed with a computer, maybe they would find a way to equalize. In any case, the game continued with queen e5, which by the way I was thinking to play that to support the pawn c3. Rook b1, obviously it's immediately an attack on here, but here in the book it says that in case of direct attack, black continue with knight d5, e4, knight b4, rook b1, knight 4 on a6. Okay, well, clearly a line that one can see if they get the book, because I don't have any interest in reproducing completely the analysis, because I think one should buy the book or do something even better, analyze it by yourself. Okay, this is very important. Otherwise we are just wasting time if we don't do some effort, no, in watching this game. So rook b1 was played in the game. Obviously bishop d7 is the move, because if you play rook b3 there is probably bishop f4. Also, if in reality there could be queen takes c3. Well, interesting. Let's see what happens. Okay. I don't know. Let's see. Rook b3, bishop f4. Let's see. Queen takes e3. That's what I thought. And now he plays rook queen d8. Now you know why the rook cannot move, because if a rook moves there is a checkmate here. Okay, so that's super interesting. Since the rook cannot move due to the mate on d1, an exchange is lost. So the mobility of the isolated pawn was transformed into a pass pawn, which was then transformed into a material advantage. It all happened after a series of tactical strokes, a common result of a breakthrough in the center. What follows is just the usual technical problem. So what the author is saying is that at this point you just need to have good technique to convert the material advantage into a won game, and obviously Alekhine has surely that kind of technique, right? Now, if you really want to learn something, pause the video and try to find black's next move, because it will not be bishop takes b3. Okay, so pause the video, try to find it, and I will continue. Okay, so this is a good exercise for you. Knight a6, and the author writes, this is the strongest move. Black evaluates correctly that white's pass pawn on the c file won't be dangerous, and that realizing the material advantage will be easier without white's bishop. Bishop takes a6, b takes a6, castle. At this point you need to take, because there is no checkmate here anymore, right? Yeah, bishop takes b3, queen takes b3, rook b8, queen c2, and queen d5. The game continues with e4, queen b3, queen e2, queen b5, queen f3, queen takes c5. Boom. Ay, ay, ay. Things are going definitely bad for white. Knight f5, rook b1, and queen f4. Here there is a comment on queen g3. If you play this, black will continue with g6. Okay, so eventually do your own analysis on that, because the author analyzed it. I just am curious to see how it ends, honestly. So after queen f4, boom, knight takes e4. That's amazing. That's an amazing move, because if you leave this fall, h4, rook e8. It seems that white was so shocked that he couldn't really fight back. Rook e1, queen c3, rook d1, knight d2, boom. A clever move, disrupting the coordination of white's pieces in order to simplify the position. Rook takes d2, rook takes c1, king h2, oops, sorry, queen c7. Obviously it doesn't want to exchange, because if you exchange, the game is practically over. Rook d6, rook c5, g3. Now we can move the queen away to avoid the exchange. The last trap, if we can call it so, because after rook takes f5, the intended rook e6 is not enough. In view of f takes e6, queen takes e7, and rook takes f2. Alekhine, however, prefers to avoid it, leading his ship in this important game into calmer water. That's interesting. Okay. So let's see what he played. Rook f8, g4, f6, king h3, h5, queen d2, h take g4, king take g4, queen f7, h5, boom. Obviously he needs to support this. Check. Check again. And this one is gone right away. And here the author says, since I saw this game, each time I face a position characterized by an isolated pawn in the center, I ask myself the same question: can the pawn move forward or not? It is the basic, crucial question one should ask on every move. The second lesson we learn from Alekhine's victory is simple and important. A successful central thrust may promote isolated pawns into passed pawns, increasing in the process all sorts of tactical threats. And here there is another game that he gives as example. This book was written by Drazen Marovich, and it was published around the year 2000. I do believe it's a beautiful book that will teach you a lot about pawn structures. So eventually try to find it, and maybe it's finding use, because by 2000 it's 24 years later, maybe they didn't republish it. But I think it's a very good book. Okay, hope you will enjoy it.